Across the body jewelry industry, suppliers and studios are currently racing toward a 2026 deadline. The word in the trade is that the European REACH regulation is about to slash the allowable limit for nickel, forcing a total overhaul of how these parts are made. This looming date has triggered a wave of anxiety through the supply chains for these specific items. Manufacturers are auditing their stock, and piercers are questioning their long-term inventory. But if you open the official text of the REACH annexes, the expected 2026 cliff edge disappears. The legal numbers on the page today match the numbers from 5 years ago. This creates a strange contradiction. We have an entire industry preparing for a seismic shift in the law, while the law itself remains completely static. The source of the panic lies in a misunderstanding of how European rules are updated. It's the result of treating a technical change in a laboratory as if it were a new policy from a politician. To understand why those numbers haven't moved, we have to look at the REACH framework. It is a massive regulatory machine, and its complexity makes it very easy to conflate different types of rules. Most confusion starts with the SVHC Candidate List. While this list identifies substances of concern, its primary function is to trigger communication duties. If a substance exceeds 0.1% by weight, you have to tell the buyer, but it doesn't actually stop you from selling the product. The actual market restrictions live in Annex XVII, specifically Entry 27. This is the only part of the law that sets the hard nickel release limits for jewelry. Entry 27 sets a threshold of 0.5 micrograms for articles intended for direct and prolonged skin contact. This covers the items that sit against the outside of the body, like watch straps, necklaces, or rings. For anything inserted into a piercing, the limit is more than twice as strict, at 0.2 micrograms. This lower threshold exists because the body's primary defense, the skin barrier, is broken, leaving the tissue more vulnerable to irritation. These two figures, 0.2 and 0.5, are the established legal limits. They have been the standard for years, and they are not scheduled to change in 2026. The real event that triggered the current industry movement happened in December 2023. This was the date the European Commission harmonized a new testing method called EN 1811-2023. It was an update from the European Committee for Standardization, replacing a version from 2011. The legal limits remained identical, but the scientific method used to prove a product meets those limits was upgraded to reflect modern laboratory capabilities. By updating the test method, the Commission effectively increased the technical burden of proof on manufacturers, requiring more precise data to verify the same old numbers. While the labs are focused on testing finished products, the solution for most manufacturers starts much earlier, at the forge, where the raw metal is born. There is a specific way to make the entire Annex XVII conversation irrelevant for a supplier. It starts by looking past marketing adjectives. Terms like implant-grade are often used loosely to describe everything from aerospace scrap to industrial titanium, but they carry no specific chemical guarantee. The industry standard that actually matters is ASTM F136 titanium. This specification defines an exact chemical window. For a batch to qualify, the iron, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon must fall within these precise ranges. Crucially, the specification for ASTM F136 titanium contains no nickel at all. When a manufacturer uses a material that is nickel-free by design, the legal debate over release limits becomes a non-issue. The chemistry of the metal handles the compliance before the product even reaches the lab. The current regulatory environment in Europe is placing a higher premium on the accuracy of metallurgical data. The risk to a business today is not a phantom 2026 deadline, but the use of suppliers who rely on withdrawn 2011 test methods or vague aerospace descriptions. Ensuring compliance starts with asking for the grade designation. You need a specific standard like ASTM F136 or ISO 5832-3, rather than a marketing buzzword. Second, you must hold the material certificate. A supplier who has compliant stock will be able to produce an element-by-element breakdown of that specific batch. Finally, if the item contains nickel, you need an EN 1811 test result that specifically references the 0.2 limit for piercings and uses the most current 2023 version of the method. Meaningful safety is built on these verifiable data points. It is achieved when the material certificates and the laboratory results provide the evidence that the rumor mill cannot.